But I want to know, is this final show that we've got something that is very bad? Or is it something
I
that's
think it's
maybe
very good.
misunderstood?
I'm not gonna, you're not gonna paint me as that much of a hater just because I like to poke the bear a little bit.
You are the Apple guy, so you already got leeway, bro. You were on that Apple bit before anyone was buying their iPhones to get the service. And
Yeah,
Severance is without a doubt the biggest runaway hit Apple has ever had.
absolutely.
And season 2 has kept it up to
It
the level
has
of
in a
one.
lot of ways.
No?
So I'm curious if you are ready to declare this one of the greatest shows of all time, because it feels like everybody on the internet has done that.
No, that's lost, baby. Come on.
Thank you, dude. Look, we
Come
we
on.
are Lost fans. Maybe that makes us old, but we know how a mystery box show should be done. And I just like I'm seeing the love for Severance, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I'm glad that Adam Scott is getting his due. Like, people are even going back to Party Down now because they love Adam Scott so much. That's all great. I just
You made me
think
do that for
we're
season 1. That's so funny. I did the party down thing after season 1.
hell yeah. I just think we need to pump the brakes a little bit before we declare this show one of the all-time greats, because I think while it is, there's no argument you can make against the way the show looks on a craft level. It is immaculately put together. The production design, the cinematography, the sound of the show is incredible. Like,
Especially
it is
with
one of the
Apple,
most
yeah.
beautiful things assembled for TV that I can think of. I have some issues with how they decide to dispense information, because season one was a really interesting show that sort of talked about ideas around the workplace, whether or not like all forms of labor are exploitation. If you would consider doing this kind of setup to get you through your workday, I thought it was a really intriguing premise. And instead, what they've run with on season two is just kind of weird lore and trying to build this world, but not in the directions I find most interesting. I found like the primary method of information dispensing on season two of Severance was to obfuscate things. They kind of want to
Mm.
make things not more clear. They
Mm.
want to put a lot of confusion in the air and only give you a detail here or there. And
Mm.
just coming from Lost, specifically, I feel like when Lost would do that kind of world building, they would also pair it with flashbacks about the characters, so that even if you're not necessarily moving further along in learning like what the Dharma Initiative is, how did everybody get on this island, you at least uncover a piece of the puzzle in why Jack is the way he was, or why Hurley was the way he was, like why Hurley cares about the numbers, or why Jack is so concerned about his dad showing up on the island, stuff like that. In Severance, it's not good at giving you those morsels, I feel like.
You don't feel it ends in a place where the characters, specifically because of what the show does, right?
Yeah.
Not flashbacks, but more so a split, two people in one body,
Any
that it
Addies.
starts advancing the characters through their wants and needs and that push and pull?
It does certainly a bit, but not necessarily like a lot, right? Like it, I feel like often what we get in an episode of Severance is like 40 to 45 minutes of atmospheric ambiance and Zach Cherry walking in going, "What the fuck's going on, guys?" And then you get about 10 minutes where the Mark Helly relationship progresses a little bit. And
Yeah.
like, it's interesting. I think the sort of love triangle of sorts that they set up is a really compelling one, but I just don't find that to be enough to really sustain my interest in this world. Like, the way they've handled the Lumen Corporation this year has been like really weird. Like, it often feels like they're the only four people working there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's elements like that don't make the world feel fully thought through, for
Yeah,
me.
in a world that's for the show, not a world that they're capturing because it's so much more expansive. And that's
Yeah,
where I
yeah,
think we also had with Lost. It's like, how much does the Dharma go? Do you have this planned out? Can you even fake it till you make it when these shows are being renewed, like you were saying, in the case of Lost, it being on cable,
right.
and here with it being on Apple? One of the biggest things I've seen is the pushback of like, dude, it was so long between season one.
Yeah, yeah,
It was so long. And it's they're saying they're going to split it season three. They're going to spin it around really fast. But
yeah.
I'm with you. I think it's one of those where like I don't want to call it babies first lost, but I think we're also in a realm where you cannot lie. We are following up Lost, and people make videos like we did for Lost. I've been
Hmm.
seeing so many explainers where I need an explainer for the explainer because what was the solution they got? People want to find things that are not there, and it made
Yeah,
me think to actually meet people halfway because I don't want to say Lost better. What do you know? No, go watch Lost, please. This could be it too. I liked
yeah.
what Abby had said. Or could it be Westworld? What a great example of something that had that potential and it did fizzle out.
Hmm.
I want to know that it's not people overhyping a good show. I'm with you. I'm not going to hate it. But that it's more so the idea that what would have happened if Lost came out today? Is it just the reception overall with what we have today? We would have also been annoyed with how people would have picked apart Lost. We would have also
True.
been annoyed with the way it was being released. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in here, but I do think they're gonna do the J.J. Abrams mystery box thing like you were describing.
Hmm.
I hope they don't take as long in between seasons.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a lot of waiting around for answers, and this
We just
season didn't
waiting
bring
around
us
for a season and then waiting around in the season.
exactly right. Like this season did not bring us a whole lot closer to those answers. It
Yeah.
seemed like it was most interested in developing the relationships instead of developing the world itself beyond weirdness. I did really enjoy the story of Zach Cherry's character and Merritt Weaver this season. That was
Okay.
probably a highlight for me.
I was about to ask
Um,
you what were the ones that stood out.
yeah, I like their dynamic, and it's one of those ones where it's a they're exploring the characters in a way that's unique to this world and makes me learn more about the world. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm there for.
I'm with you on
Um,
that too as well.
yeah, but I don't know, and I'm saying all this about a show that I'm still going to put in my top 10 shows of the year, most likely.
But you're
It's
just saying like, guys, y'all need to understand. You're praising something before the show has done it for you.
yeah, you got to respect your elders a little bit on this one.
That too. Reintegration scenes. Would you consider those probably some of the big things? There's a conversation between two people I found was interesting. Very Lake House style.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
for sure. Um,
Um,
But that also
they
gets
really.
to another thing about the show is that like they spend so much time on the visual flair that when you actually need to communicate some information, it's often just two people sitting down. You know?
Well, Severance, people have various opinions on it. Some people, I do think, are downplaying it. We're being critical in the way that we're assessing it as media and past media. Some people are assessing it like, I want to be the hater and I'm going to tear this down. And they're
Right.
lying about things that are there. Some people were over conflating. This is the most visually stunning thing I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, I mean, it looks great on Apple as well. But I think it just shows you the success that it has because even with that long wait between one and two, I think it still captured people. I think this has that HBO Sunday slot that I
Hmm.
wish they pushed a little bit better because HBO still now knows how to get people gathered around for White Lotus whenever Levinson stuff comes back. And of course, all the GOT that we still got. I wish Apple knew how to handle that and other streaming services did too.
Hmm.
That's the last thing they're missing. Yo,
Yeah.
it's tonight, not just everyone dispersed. Marvel fans are good at that. 6 p.m. Agatha or whatever, but I wish, because when does this stream? Fridays?
I think Fridays, yeah.
Sunday. Why not a 7 p.m. Sunday? You
Right.
already do games. Just switch it up a bit. I think that's the only thing that it's missing to really
Yeah,
compete
the
with
appointment television thing.
appointment television. Overall, though, do you have anything that you want to see out of season three that maybe is a flip on what where people want it
I
to go?
I want them to not treat Lumen as this like quirky office, but actually explore the kind of like machinations that would go into a workplace that's trying to exploit people this way. I think, this is a show that ultimately is about our relationship to work in a lot of ways. And it wasn't really about that in season 2.
Brought to you by Apple. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, maybe. You saw they're selling like the Lumen monitor device thing?
Why?
I don't
Do you
know.
think it's fetishized work? Like when they did the whole rollout and they were just standing for 3 hours in Central Station? You think it's become like an office core thing that people have done? Zach, I think we're in a psyop, Zach.
It's all
This
part
is
of
against remote.
corporate America's plan to get us back into the office.
Back into the office, bro.
Return to work.
I'm severing it right here. We are not continuing. But season 3, hopefully in a year. I don't think they're doing the pit thing. It'll be a while.
Yeah,
Before they
maybe more like
reintegrate.
18 months to 2, but
Something like that.
I'm sure we're getting more Severance.
Yeah. Let us know your thoughts down below for one of the biggest shows out there on TV.